One of the things that stood out to me in your book is you make the case that our brains are were mismatched with the work required to thrive during the agricultural revolution. Why is that? And are our brains better aligned with 21st century work?
Great question. I'll start with the first one. So the only world of work our brains are adapted for is hunting and gathering. So that was the vast majority of the evolution of the modern human brain happened in that context. The first major labor revolution was the agricultural revolution. And going from hunting and gathering to farming was incredibly dramatic. And there's all kinds of evidence of its negative impact on individual health, individual well-being. Disease rates were prevalent, were much higher because we didn't know how to deal with human waste in these, and living in closer quarters to one another. Nutrition was poor, so we didn't live as long. The work, the nature of work, it went from being this very exploratory endeavor where you had to adapt to seasons and new environments and new terrains and use creativity to build these tools to give you a competitive advantage. Suddenly it's very, very repetitive. Not quite as repetitive as it would become in the industrial evolution with factories, but there's skeletal evidence in China, for example, of young women with arthritides all over their body because they've been kneeling at a grindstone for the short years of their life. So it was not, and it's puzzling still why that happened exactly. But it's the first example of this way that we were not designed, either our bodies or our brains, for our work, and designed in quotes, not to imply a teleology here, but just that's what happened. Industrial revolution was its own sort of mismatch. If you look at today, on the one hand, compared to the highly specialized nature of work that trended through agriculture and then industrialization, compared to the increasing monotony of work, there's a beautiful return to creativity. There's a beautiful return to a need for a generalist skill set, because we have to move between roles and we have to move between industries. We have to change jobs much more frequently because the work that we're doing is so integrated across domains. So that, I think, is really beautiful, and it's something we should embrace. And we need to get back to the idea of thinking of everyone as creative, because that is our heritage, and we all have that hardware. On the other hand, the pace of change that we're facing is very, very challenging, and it's not native to us to deal with. So the levels of resilience that we need, the levels of motivation to push through chapter after chapter, to master a very new and very different environment with a brain that was quote unquote designed to receive change as potential threat, that's not really a great fit for an environment of constant change. So in some ways, I think there's a lot of beautiful redemption here. On the other hand, there's definitely new challenges that we're still just understanding for the ways that we are wired for one environment. And now we're trying to apply that same hardware and software to a brand new situation.